Welcome to the George FTT YouTube channel. Today we'll discuss a preview of the trade period, which I think comes up within the next week, or at least free agency starts in a couple of days. So over the next 3 weeks, we'll see who goes where, and I've got a decent list of relevant players here. I've got 12 to 13. Discuss a few star players like Merritt and Petracca, and then also like a George Stevens or a Will Brodie, for example, who look to be on the move potentially. Or at least definitely Will Brodie is, but we'll go through that, bit of a quick preview, some off-season content. If I'm not expecting a lot of people to watch this, because I do think we should be switched off from SuperCoach at this time, but I think this video maybe you can just put on in the background if you want to listen. And I know some people have asked me in Discord to do a little bit of content, so here we are, and I kind of miss it, although it's been about a month since last doing some SuperCoach content. I do enjoy it. So we'll go through a list of players. Now, grand final day was today as I record this. I thought it was a great game. A lot of really, really good goals from, a few outside 50s. Like Charlie Cameron's goal was unreal. Good to see him back in some form. And last quarter was just a pile-on. But pretty tense game for 2.5 quarters there. Fun game. And we saw, Brisbane adapt, made a few changes, put Starcevic on Dangerfield, which was pretty interesting. Threw Archie on the wing to combat Dempsey, who I thought did a good job in the first half, and then they sort of moved Dempsey around. And good to see McLuggage freed from the tag, because we hate taggers in SuperCoach land. So that was a good game to watch. So hopefully if you're a Geelong supporter, I think you're disappointed, but you're Geelong, so I think you'll be fine. And Brizzy back to back. The team looks just so good. I was going for Brisbane, so I was happy they won, but wouldn't have been fussed either way. So hopefully you all enjoy the grand final, and we'll get into some SuperCoach content. So I've got my notes on this screen here, so we'll probably turn my head a lot. But the first one I have, I'm not going to call him an absolute lock, but I think all going well he will be Sam Flanders in the forward line. Played a lot of half forward this year. Obviously Anderson, Rao, Took Miller, Davies they gave time to, Humphrey they gave time to. Flanders 390k. 4 clubs are interested in him. I wish he would come to the Crows, but it sounds like Vic only, because I think he would have been a great fit for us. But Melbourne, Carlton, St Kilda and Essendon are the 4 clubs that have interviewed him. He could also stay at the Gold Coast. The best landing spot for him, actually before I start with that, so worth noting he played through a back issue this year. There was a press conference with Flanders later in the season where he said he played through an L4, L5 bulging disc, and that is not a fun injury. So to play through that, and Dimmer also said in another presser that he probably shouldn't have played half the games he did. So it sounds like he had no surgery or anything, and I guess we can see like back surgery can be risky, so it's sort of like the absolute last resort. So hopefully that can be resolved over off season. Fingers crossed. I know that is a pain in the ass to get on top of that type of injury. So hopefully he's injury free. That's the first thing with Flanders, and he averaged 70 something this year, 73 this year, and he can off half forward. He can do 90 plus off half forward quite comfortably, I think, even more. So that's one to watch. But regardless, the best landing spot for SuperCoach wise for Flanders, I think it was Melbourne. I think he'll get the opportunity, especially if they trade Petracca and they can throw Langford in there. So I can definitely see him being used heaps in the midfield. So hopefully, for SuperCoach's sake, he goes to Melbourne. Carlton, they do have a lot of inside mids at Carlton. You got Cripps, Walsh, Chera, Hewitt. How much mid-time does he take away from those guys? I'm not sure. Could be more utility-ish if used at Carlton, but you think if he wants to trade, it's to play inside mid. So I don't love his fit for Carlton as an inside mid. I guess it sort of depends. I think it'll definitely improve their inside mid or their midfield, but I think the safer mid-clock is at other teams. Like St Kilda offering a lot of money. I expect pick 7 and 900k a year. It sounds like what they're offering. That would be great, because that probably indicates they're trying to lure him to play midfield. If he wants to come there, they just give him what he wants. So St Kilda, bit of fun this off season with the spending spree, playing with house money it seems. And Essendon, you think you'd get good mid-time at Essendon if Merritt leaves especially, but say they hold Merritt, Durham, Nick Martin wants to play there, Cordwell will get maximum mid-time. So A few others, kids as well. Probably Hobbs and Sardis, probably papers might be stamped, so probably not them. But the best spot would be Melbourne for a Supercoach. From a Supercoach perspective, Stephen King did play him in the midfield when he was interim, when Dew got sacked in 2023, and really released him. So there's a connection there. So wherever he goes, as long as, bottom line, injury-free, just pick him. So I think that's that. The next player I have is Merritt, 570k. So that's, in the past few years, I see Merritt for 570k. I buy him pretty much almost every time. So he wants to go to Hawthorn. The new president, Andrew Welsh, who I think is a guru property investor or something like that, says he guarantees Merritt will be at the hangar day one of preseason. This is hard. Not even from a Supercoach perspective, they can't really let a player culturally like this go, but maybe they can get a decent return for him. And is there any Merritt's been our best player? There's not a player on that. There's not a person in that organization that's fit to carry the bags of Merritt, in my opinion. I guess he's been chopped himself around in the past as captain, but at the same time, he's been, in terms of on-field consistency over a long period of time, there's absolutely no one that comes close to him. So I think there's probably a little bit of entitlement from him, and I get it. And he's had enough, and he can see his football mortality. He's 30 in about a month's time, so he's in a hurry to see success. And you look at it, there's so many injury-prone players on the list. A lot needs to go right for them to actually click. And they're losing free agents as well in Draper. So I can see why he wants to move. Hopefully he does. From a Supercoach perspective, if he moves to Hawthorn, I think I'll start him. Priced at 107, I think he can do 115 plus. He's done 115 heaps in the past through tags. So even though tags might come, he did all right against the Oisin Mullen tag. But I like him as a starting pick regardless. Not much to say on Merritt. If he stays at Essendon, I probably won't, because he might be a bit disgruntled. I don't know. I think he'll still play his skin out, but I like him better at Hawthorn if that gets done. So that'll be interesting. Petracca, 520k in the forward line. I was looking through the numbers. He actually scores fine without CBAs, so I wouldn't be obviously you want CBAs, but I think the clubs interested in him are Hawthorn, but they've called with their interest in Zack Merritt, Gold Coast, and the Crows. I think I'll pick him wherever he goes. Even if he stays, I think maybe the coach can revitalise him. Most likely he'll be around the mark as the top forward. This year, probably, I'm not even sure he was top 6 this year, but we'll see what happens. But I do like Petracca wherever he goes as at that mid forward. And we know he had some rib issues and came off that nasty internal organ injury in the 2025 pre-season. So we'll see how he goes. But I like Petracca as a starting pick. I don't think you have to pick him, but he'll be in my first team draft. Now, I've got TDK here and Marshall. So TDK, before he had the larynx injury, was said by Carlton that he was struggling a bit. Well, I think a journo leaked it. He was struggling a bit with breathing issues. I don't know how much you take into account that hurts his output, but before that, 114 average and finished the season with a 96 and 98. I've had it written here before, but something like that, priced at around 520k. I think we want, first of all, if Marshall stays, forget it. And Marshall's also an interesting one because he's priced a bit cheaper than he usually is and had that slow start. Missed 8 weeks leading into preseason, so he's had a bit of a slow start. But Marshall, I think we want Gawn, we want Grundy, we want Sherry. Plus, I think ruck rules are changing. Not ruck rules, sorry. We're going to get less stoppages with the last touch rule, whatever it's called, between the arcs. So Ross Lyon was on Dan Gorringe's stream and they were having a bit of a laugh and they were saying, or just came up in conversation, that Ross thinks there'll be 3 less stoppages a game. So not a massive, you might knock off a couple points from your ruckman, but I don't think it's going to be enough to move the needle for me to pick someone or not pick someone in terms of that. But yeah, they might lose a few points here and there. But Marshall could be a pick if he goes to Geelong. If they're together, we're just wasting our time talking about this. So we'll worry about this when trade period's done. Sean Darcy's been spoken about a little bit. I think he probably stays, but I've heard Essendon potentially could look at him. 410k. Like, we know, like, he has uber premium in him. Does he have it in him anymore? I'm not sure though. So we saw it a few years ago, averaged like almost 120, and then year after that about 105 or something. But yeah, for me, not a top liner, extremely injury prone. Did prime himself for a good year in 2025, but had the infection in the foot when he had surgery on his foot or ankle or something like that. So it's hard for him to get a clean run at it. And I don't mind him staying at Freo. I don't mind the dual rucks at Freo, just because Jackson can sort of just play wherever, like forward, inside, mid, relief in the ruck, keep the opposition guessing. But you're probably going to get maximum output from Jackson when he is rucking. So it's probably a no for me. So Sam Draper is off to Brisbane. He's going to miss the start of the season, so I'm not going to worry about that. I'm interested in this pick if he's forward status later in the year. No, he didn't do an ACL. He did the Achilles, I reckon. So we'll see how he comes back. It's going to be very hard to come back at your peak off a 12-month layoff. This is one for maybe post-buy next year. We'll see how it goes. Now, that's probably it for the guys that have premium scoring in them. And you might say, okay, Sam Draper is probably not a premium, but we actually saw him start to break out. I think he scored like a 120, 140 against Gawn or something like that before he got injured. So I did feel like Sam Draper was breaking out, but of a small sample. But regardless, some other players we can look at. Now, this is a no, but Giath has averaged 84 in the past, and he's priced in the 60, so about 20 points upside potentially. Sounds like he could move to Carlton. I was watching Giath in the finals. He was thinking he's probably played his last game for Hawthorn here. I don't think, not his best performance. So if he goes to half-back at Carlton, I can see a scoring uptick. It could be a fantasy one, but I'm kind of worried if he's going to be best 22. What does that look like? So I'm not a massive fan, but there is upside there. And that was a long time ago, 2021, average 84, but that was off the half-back line. George Stevens, the Crows have registered interest in him. 98 DT in the VFL. Now, I asked so he's an inside mid, and he'll be, I suspect, close to rookie price. Let's have a look. Should have had that in front of me. But you did get a Brownlow vote, old Georgie boy, so... And I don't know if the Geelong are actually willing to get rid of him, because they did pay a good price for him. 62 of 2 games. He's going to be probably in the mid-200s, I think. Yeah, that might be a little bit much, but he could get a lot of inside mid-time at the Crows, so he's one to keep an eye on. Yeah, and when I did ask the Geelong supporter, they said that his tank is probably not the best at the moment, so keep an eye out. Tog can be very misleading in preseason. I've fallen for that trap before, so that's going to be a hard one to get a read on, but we'll monitor him in preseason if he gets traded. So next one I have is Will Brodie. I'm excited for this one because potentially without the sub rule, and I don't know if you've seen Chris Scott's press conference from the grand final, he sort of blasted the sub rule, and just with the whole Jeremy Cameron situation, like, do you sub him off? Like, they're not sure, sort of wait for the medical assessment. He really hated that, and I can see where he's coming from. Obviously frustrated after losing a grand final, but it's a stupid rule. We all hate it, and I don't know why it's taken this long, but if he's in the 23, Will Brodie, I think we pick him. It's going to be rookie price, and you chuck him on your field for sure. So Josh Carr is the new coach of Port. He was a midfield coach for Will Brodie back in the day. Might have been like 3 years ago now, 2022, where he was a premium in the forward line. I don't mind Will Brodie. Like, I don't know what's happened in the last few years, whether he's regressed that much, but last time I watched him play at AFL level, I thought it was pretty decent, and at rookie price, you don't need much from him. Like 65 would be, like if you're fielding him, would be the minimum you'd hope for, but you can definitely do more than that. How does he fit in? So you got maybe Rosie plays back. It feels like that was, I think I read that was Josh Carr's sort of suggestion. I prefer Rosie at halfback, I think, because I think they have enough mids, but you can throw Rosie in when you need him. Still a gun midfielder as well, but Drew and Wines are there. Can you run all three in the midfield? I don't know. We'll see what Josh Carr's plans are, but again, no sub rule. If he's in the 23, I think you just pick him. Even if you're concerned about job security, I think the upside is like he could make so much money, easily get to like 400k plus. But yeah, I'd like to see how he goes in preseason, just because I haven't seen him for so long at AFL level. Jacob Ware, 310k, looks like he's off to a move to Port. He averaged 89 DT this year in the VFL, so we know, yeah, this is not going to work. So, but the reason why he's played mostly wing at the Giants, so I think we'll see an increase in scoring if he plays off halfback at Port, because when he was drafted to the Giants, he was a mature agent in the SNFL who played off halfback. But yeah, you got coming at the time, Whitfield, Ash, and whatnot. Himmelberg down back, no room for him. So that's one to skip. But I could see a bit of an uptick there. Henry Hustwaite now, maybe he's used as trade bait for Zack Merritt in the Hawthorn. Yeah, if he could go to Essendon potentially. But yeah, he's getting 40, 35 touches in the VFL. So really putting a lot of points on the board. But I watching him at AFL level in the limited chance he got, I was not really that impressed. He's still young and he felt like he didn't have time to adjust to the level. Just a bit slow with decision making. His big body, not super quick. So a good VFL mid, but I think he needs exposure at AFL level. So he's about 210k I've got here. I guess it depends if he gets traded, because at the Hawks it's probably unlikely. And can he play at the level? So that's one where it's a bit of guesswork. I definitely need to see more before I chuck him in the team. And the last name I've got here is Seamus Mitchell. So he averaged 100 DT in the VFL. He's going to be 140k. Can't get a game in the Hawthorn back line. Amon and MP running the show back there. Plus Sicily can use it and whatnot. So I can't really see him getting much of a game. I don't know who's linked to him, but I have heard his name thrown around as one that could be traded or seeking opportunity. So he could be a good rookie for us. 140k. He was a decent rookie for us a while back. I don't mind him as a player. I thought he was okay. Like, didn't really have a lot of standout attributes, but thought he was just like solid halfback. Like, ball use was okay. So that's one to look out for. Now, that's it from me for trade period preview. So, just to recap, Flanders, Merritt, Petracca, TDK, Marshall situation. Definitely watching those four and what happens there. And the ones I like, potentially, I definitely like Will Brodie. I like Seamus Mitchell as well with new opportunity. Out of these really cheap guys that could potentially be good rookies for us. So, yeah. Anyway, that's it from me. Thanks for watching, and we'll get another video out maybe during trade period. I don't know. So we'll definitely do a wrap up of trade period at some point. So that'll be good. And after that, we'll do a team reveal, very early team. And yeah, we'll put SuperCoach to bed for a bit. So thanks for watching, and we'll see you guys in the next one.